everyone, welcome back to AI Accelerator's podcast. I'm Nisarga Satish. Today's episode is going to be a little different. Instead of talking about tools and trends from a technical expert's perspective, we are bringing it back to basics. We have with us Avishkar Gawali, a trainee test automation engineer, who is going to walk us through what it actually feels like to start from zero in the world of automation. He'll also be introducing us to a test automation tool, Tosca. Hi Avishkar, great to have you here.
Thank you so much. Really glad to be here and share my experience.
Well, glad to have you. So, without further delay, let's jump right in. Avishkar, could you tell us a little about yourself and what your day to day life looks like as a trainee?
Yeah, sure. My name is Avishkar Gawali and I'm currently working as a trainee test automation engineer. The biggest part of my role, honestly, is just learning, and I'm expected to understand automation concepts, exploring the tools like Tosca, and building the strong fundamental step by step. I'm not expected to know everything from the day one, and that learning focus environment gave me the space to actually explore the Tosca properly without too much the pressure.
Great to know about it. And now, before we dive into your journey, some of our listeners might not be very familiar with Tosca at all. So, can you give us a quick picture of what it actually is and maybe walk us through a simple example of how Tosca works?
Yeah, sure. Okay, the Tosca is a model-based test automation tool. It developed by the Tricentis Tosca. It is used to automate the functional and regression testing for the web, desktop, mobile, and the API application. Tosca is follow a scriptless approach, so the automation is done without writing the code. Now I will show you the login test case demonstration in Tosca. Before that, let's first understand the purpose of each section so you can clearly see how which part contribute to building and running the test automation flow. So this is the test case section. It is used to design and manage test scenarios based on the business requirement. It contains the test steps created using modules to perform the action and validation. This section represents the complete test flow from a user perspective. This is the module section. It stores the technical elements of the application such as button, inputs, fields, and links. These are created using scanning tools like Xscan and act as a reusable component. Module helps to separate the technical details from the test logic. This is the test case design section. It is used for implementing the data-driven testing by managing the test data separately. It allows creating the test sheet with the multiple data combinations. This enables running the same test case with the different input values. This is the execution section. This execution section is used to run the test case and verify the application behavior. The test cases are organized into the execution list for structured runs. It provides the results such as pass, fail, logs, and screenshot. This is the issue section. The issue section is used to log and manage the defect identified during the testing. This is the configuration section. This section manages the environment specific setting required for text execution. It includes the browser setup, URLs, and other execution parameters. These allow the running the test across the different environment like QA or production. This is the test planning. The test planning is used to organize and structure test activities at the higher level. It helps define test coverage and manage the testing strategy. This is the requirement section. This section stores the business requirements that need to be tested. It allows linking test cases to ensure the proper coverage. This helps to managing the traceability between the requirements and testing. So now, for this login test case demonstration, I am using the demo web shop application. It is a web application. For this login test case, we can follow the best practice by organizing the modules, test case, and execution into the proper folder structure. We keep the automation clean and reusable and easy to maintain. To create the login test case, we first scan the login page, capture the username fields, password fields, and login button as modules. Then add them into the test cases. So next in this test case, we add the one verification step, so it confirms that login is successful. Also in this, we can use the test configuration parameter to handle the dynamic values like URL, browser, or credential, making this test reusable across the different environment. We can proceed with the executing the test case and validate the end-to-end login functionality.
So as we saw on screen, the process executed the login functionality and it automatically logged into this website.
Yes. So now as we execute the test case, now review the result in the execution section. So yes, now we can see that the verification was successful and it ensured that the login functionality is working as expected.
Great, that was a very comprehensive walkthrough. I must say the tool has a very functional and well structured UI. So you can see everything from capturing the elements to organizing it to a test case and verifying the execution. So it has got some really good features here. Okay, Avishkar, so that's a great way to put it. So it's almost like building with blocks rather than writing lines of code. And you're essentially telling the tool what to do with components that already exist, and rather than scripting every single action from scratch. Right. So I can see why that's both exciting and a little disorienting at first. What was going through you? What was going through your head when you first opened that tool?
Yeah, honestly, a mix of curiosity and the confusion. I know automation was important, but when I first opened the Tosca and saw all these sections, modules, test case, and different panels, I felt a bit overwhelmed. I remember the thinking, this look powerful, but will I really understand it? The self doubt is very natural when you are new, especially as a fresher. But I told myself that confusion is just the part of the process, and that's mindset really helped me to push forward.
Great. I just remembered my time when I was a fresher. So, how did you get past that initial confusion? Did you just figure it out on your own, or was there a more structured path?
Yeah, I realized very early that random learning wasn't going to cut it. So I leaned heavily on the Tricentis Tosca Academy. I didn't just passively watch the videos, I tried them like the actual classroom session. I'd pause frequently, follow the every step hands on Tosca, and most importantly, I completed every single exercise the academy provided. Those exercises are a game changer. When you do them yourself, you make mistakes, and those mistakes teach you faster than any video can. Sometimes things didn't work on the first try, and I'd have to redo the exercise, but by the end of it, the logic just clicked. I also use the official documentation a lot. It felt overwhelming at first, but once I learned how to navigate it properly, it became my go-to reference for doubt. It asked help me because more independent instead of running to someone for heavy small question.
Right. Especially the documentation can be a great source of help in such cases. And I think that the moment of overwhelm is something almost every professional has felt when encountering a new tool. And it doesn't matter how experienced you are or whether you're a fresher or not. And the difference is just how you respond to it. Right, and clearly yours was a solid approach, and I know you also went through several certifications along the way, right? So could you walk us a little bit through that?
Yes, I completed the Tosca Product Consultant certification, which has a multiple levels AS1 and AS2. Gave me the foundation, understanding the workspace, scanning application, creating module, building the basic test cases. AE1 pushed me the further into the designing stable and the effective automation rather than just getting the test to run. Then comes to tds 1 and tds 2, which were honestly the most impactful for me. They completely shifted how I think about the automation, from just making a pass to thinking about the design, reusability, and the long term maintenance. I also completed the automating API test cases, which open up the back-end side of testing and how it fits into the bigger automation picture.
Right, it sounds like TDS 1 and TDS 2 were real turning point for you.
Absolutely. Before those, I was just focused on execution. Will the test pass? But after TDS, I started asking a better question. Is this test stable? Is it reusable? Will it breaks if the UI changes slightly? That's mindset shift is what separates good automation from automation. That's become a maintenance nightmare.
Right, and that's a really mature way to look at it. But I'm sure it wasn't all smooth sailing, right? So, what were some of the tougher moments in your learning journey?
Yeah, the hardest part wasn't a technical concept, it was changing my mindset. Early on, I just wanted the test case to pass, but Tosca pushes you to think beyond that: stability, reusability, handling the future changes. The shift took real time and a lot failed attempts. Failure were frustrating at first, I won't lie, but slowly I started to treating them as information rather than setback. Instead of just being discouraged, I'd ask myself, why did this fail? That habit improved my problem solving a lot and honestly made me more confident over time.
Right, and your mindset and approach towards a problem is what makes you and breaks you as a professional. And I'm sure you didn't go through this alone either, right? So, tell us about the support system you had.
Yeah, that made a huge difference. My manager created an environment where I could ask questions freely without feeling judged. And they always encouraged me to focus on learning properly rather than rushing to deliver. My mentor, on other hand, guided me on the test case design, automation, structure, and the best practices, but in a way where they explain the logic behind decision rather than just giving me the answer. That's taught me to think independently, which is something I value a lot now.
Right, Avishkar. So this has been a genuine and refreshing conversation. Before we wrap up, what would you say to someone who's just starting out and feeling that exact mix of curiosity and overwhelm you felt on day one?
Yeah, I tell them that feeling is completely normal and it doesn't mean you are not cut out for this. My journey has taught me that learning automation isn't about speed. It is about the consistency and understanding. There were a moment of confusion and self-doubts, but there was also a guidance, support and real growth. You don't need to know everything today. You just need to take the first step and then the next one.
You couldn't have said it better. So thank you so much, Avishkar. This was a great one. And to everyone listening, if you're on your own automation journey, hopefully this gave you some reassurance that everyone starts somewhere. We'll see you soon in the next episode. Keep learning till then. Thank you so much.
Thank you.